The world we live in is full of mysteries. And every now and then we stumble upon fragments of our past, fragments that don't fit the timeline we thought we understood. Sometimes it's lost tech. Sometimes it's ruins. But more often it's artifacts that look man-made, yet no one really knows why they exist or how. So join us today as we take a look at 15 mysterious artifacts that are out of place, out of time, and completely out of line with what we thought we knew about history. Let's start off with number 15. Coins from Marchin Bar Island. In 1944, an Australian soldier exploring the shores of Marchin Bar Island stumbled upon 9 weathered coins buried in the sand. Nothing unusual at first glance, but when these dudes examined them, the coins raised questions that still hang in the humid Northern Territory air. 4 belong to 18th century Netherlands, expected relics of colonial reach, but the other 5 are far older and far stranger. They came from the Kilwa Sultanate, a powerful East African kingdom that once thrived along the Swahili coast over 1,000 years ago. That placed them not only continents away, but also centuries before any known European contact with Aboriginal Australia. Historians split as some suggest accidental drift, shipwreck debris caught in a current. Others argue for something much more profound, direct contact. African sailors crossing the Indian Ocean arrived long before the Dutch ever mapped the coast. There's no wreck, no written record, and no repeat discoveries. Just 9 coins and a ripple of possibility that ancient navigation might have been bolder and far more global than we dared assume. Number 14. Starchild Skull. The skull came to Lloyd Pye wrapped in legend and loaded with anatomical defiance. Found in a tunnel near Chihuahua, Mexico, the so-called Starchild skull was unearthed alongside a human skeleton, but it didn't look like it belonged to any typical child. The structure was off in every way: oversized cranial capacity, strange optic nerve placement, and no frontal sinuses. The back of the skull, flattened, but not from any known binding practice. Even the bone itself held secrets, more collagen than expected, giving it a density almost alien to human biology. Carbon dating placed the remains at around 900 years old, aligning with the normal human skull found beside it. Mitochondrial DNA revealed the kid had a human mom, but no matching nuclear DNA ever surfaced. Pye spent years fighting to prove it wasn't human, and while mainstream science pushed back hard, the questions refused to settle. So what do you think? Was it a genetic anomaly or something that simply doesn't fit any page in the human playbook? Number Dryson, Kingoody artifact. It began with a chunk of stone pulled from the Kingoody quarry in Scotland in the 19th century, ordinary by sight, until someone noticed something unnatural inside. Lodged within the ancient rock was a small corroded iron nail, buried so deep it shouldn't have existed. The year was 1845, and the British Association for the Advancement of Science officially recorded the report. But the artifact didn't survive in the public eye. There are no photographs or preserved specimens, just a written account and a series of ripples that fed into the quiet corners of archaeological lore. The stone itself, a block of old red sandstone, dated back hundreds of millions of years, long before the idea of nails, tools, or even mammals had come to life. Geologists debated whether the object had somehow worked its way into a crack over time. Others weren't so quick to rationalize. Without the artifact in hand, everything remains stuck in that gray space between fact and folklore, where evidence is claimed but never seen again. Number 12. Nampa figurine. Well, let's go back to hundreds of years ago. Nampa, Idaho, 1889. While drilling a well 300 feet into the earth, workers pulled up something that shouldn't exist, at least not according to the timeline we trust. In a slurry of sand and water came a tiny clay figurine, human-shaped, decorated, and dressed. But the layer it came from? Allegedly over 2 million years old. That was before humans were even supposed to be in the Americas, let alone crafting dolls. Supporters called it proof of forgotten civilizations or time-warped anomalies. Critics weren't convinced. How could something so fragile survive that depth, sucked up by an industrial steam pump? Some called it a hoax, possibly planted, or maybe just an old native artifact dragged down by drilling mishaps. The Smithsonian stayed silent. Others tried linking it to religious creationist theories. But in the end, all that's left is one small figure and a mountain of unanswered questions. Today, it sits in the Idaho State Historical Society, quietly daring you to believe. Number 11. Pakelsit sarcophagus lid. At first look, it's just an ornate limestone carving typical of Maya grandeur. But what lies atop the sarcophagus of Kinich Janab Pakal, better known as Pakal the Great, has stirred global speculation since the day it was unearthed in the Temple of Inscriptions at Palenque. The lid depicts Pakal leaning backward, legs raised, surrounded by what Maya scholars say is cosmological symbolism, the world tree, celestial serpents and layered glyphs mapping the heavens. But in the 1960s, a different idea took root, one that refused to go away. Erich von Daniken looked at the carving and didn't see mythology. He saw a man seated inside a mechanical device, manipulating levers, staring forward, heels braced like a pilot. He compared it to a Mercury space capsule. The positioning is eerily mechanical, mathematically precise. While mainstream archaeologists dismiss it as a stylized vision of rebirth, others insist it's a snapshot of lost knowledge. Whether symbolic or schematic, Pakal's lid is still a mystery. Number 10. The Dorchester Pot. In 1851, a thunderous blast shattered more than rock on Meeting House Hill in Dorchester, Massachusetts. It shattered logic. As workers cleared rubble from the explosion, they uncovered something strange. A bell-shaped metallic vessel, split but ornate, glinting with delicate silver inlays. It wasn't debris from a factory. This was buried deep within pudding stone, rock dated to over 500 million years old. Its design, meticulously Victorian. Some say it proves advanced civilizations existed long before accepted history allows. Others call it misplaced. Scientific American covered the find, giving it brief credibility, but skeptics weren't buying it. They pointed to its uncanny resemblance to known 19th century pipe holders. One identical match even surfaced in an Indian museum, and just when the mystery heated up, the pot vanished. No museum display, no carbon dating, just one blurred photo, faded headlines and a vacuum of proof. Whether it slipped through time or slipped through someone's fingers, the Dorchester pot remains a phantom of archaeology. Alright guys, now, let's talk about number 9. Lake Winnipesaukee Mystery Stone. While digging a simple post hole in 1872, workers unearthed something buried in the dirt near Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire, an artifact that defied every expectation. Smooth, egg-shaped, and dark as obsidian, it bore markings carved with deliberate care, symbols, geometric shapes, and most intriguingly, a face. The stone didn't match local indigenous traditions, nor did it resemble anything from colonial history. Some believed it commemorated a treaty. Others whispered that it was a relic from a vanished tribe or an even older culture predating known occupation. Its origin? Undocumented. Its carvings? Still undeciphered. And its purpose? Pure speculation. No one knows who made it or why. Though it's been displayed at various historical societies, no definitive explanation has emerged. The material appears to be quartzite, but the precision of its design, combined with its unexplained location and absence of context, keeps the mystery stone firmly in the realm of questions with no answers. Just a strange object pulled from the earth, holding on to secrets it refuses to share. Number 8. Civatherium of Kish. Unearthed in 1928 among the ruins of ancient Kish, this small war chariot figurine turned heads for reasons no one expected. At first glance, it's a beautiful piece, detailed, stylized, and unmistakably Sumerian. But the real intrigue is what's pulling the chariot, a creature with thick limbs, branched antlers, and a distinct nose ring roped like livestock. It's not a horse or a bull. It matches the extinct Civatherium, an oversized relative of the giraffe that roamed North Africa and India during the Pleistocene era. That's a serious problem for the official timeline. This creature wasn't supposed to be alive by the time Kish flourished, let alone captured in art. And yet there it is, crafted with enough accuracy to suggest someone had seen it firsthand. Was it a cultural memory, an ancient fossil misinterpreted as a beast of burden, or something far stranger, an eyewitness snapshot from a time that shouldn't overlap? The piece remains a silent riddle, stuck between myth and mammal, challenging what we think history looks like. Number 7. Sabu Disc. Inside the tomb of an official named Sabu, tucked into the sands of Saqqara, archaeologists in 1936 discovered a stone artifact unlike anything else from ancient Egypt. Roughly 61 centimeters across and carved from fragile schist, the disc features a central hole and 3 extended lobes, too symmetrical, too complex, and too deliberate to dismiss. At first glance, it resembles a wheel. Others saw turbine blades. Engineers later analyzed its structure and noted aerodynamic qualities far ahead of its time. Yet it dates to Egypt's first dynasty nearly 5,000 years ago. There are no other objects like it in Egyptian history. Some say it was decorative, others propose it mimicked lost metal devices. The stone's delicacy rules out practical use, yet its design screams intention. There's no known tool, no matching artifact, and no written clue explaining its purpose. The Sabu disc remains as much a marvel of craftsmanship as a mystery of origin, a relic that seems cut from a blueprint we haven't yet found, if we ever will. Number 6. Iron Man of Germany. Set deep in a forest path near Kottenforst, Germany, the Iron Man, or Eiserner Man, sits embedded in the earth, silent and stubborn. This rusted column of iron has weathered centuries. Its exact age unknown, its origin debated. It wasn't documented until the 17th century, but signs suggest it stood long before that, untouched by the kind of corrosion expected from medieval iron. Its metallurgical structure revealed pig iron, consistent with 13th century methods, but the pillar's setting and shape don't match any known monument or boundary marker. Some believe it was placed deliberately as a navigational landmark. Others think it predates regional mapping altogether. There's no inscription, no name, no event tied to it. Just a pillar, half swallowed by time and soil, surviving in defiance of the elements. It's not ancient by geologic standards, but it refuses to decay like it should. The Iron Man isn't flashy or famous, but it's stubborn proof that not every piece of history comes with answers, or even a question we know how to ask. Number 5. Nanjing Belt. In 1952, workers preparing a sports field in Yixing City dug straight into a forgotten tomb and into a scientific dilemma that refuses to go away. Buried within was a 3rd century general named Zhou Chu, still flanked by the metal remnants of a ceremonial belt. 17 fragments, dull with age, were found circling his skeleton. Some were silver, some copper, but several tested as aluminum, an element not isolated until the 19th century and not mass-produced until 1889. This wasn't modern trash that got mixed in. These pieces were buried with a respected military figure from the Western Jin dynasty. Universities across China confirmed it repeatedly. The alloy matched no known ancient formula, and yet there it was, aluminum from a time when no known civilization could have made it. Theories flooded in, from lost technologies to modern contamination by grave robbers, but none held firm. Sadly, no official explanation ever stuck. The Nanjing Belt now sits quietly at the edge of possibility with no answers. Number 4. Stone figures of Oxkintok. Oxkintok isn't just another buried Mayan city in the Yucatan, it's a place where the past broke its own rules. Among its shattered courtyards stand 2 statues unlike anything else in Mesoamerican archaeology. One, now in Mexico City's Anthropological Museum, depicts a pot-bellied man in what appears to be layered armor and a Toltec-style headdress. His left hand grips what resembles a control lever attached to a star-shaped device. His right palm is raised in a gesture strikingly similar to the Abhaya Mudra, an ancient symbol of peace and fearlessness. The other figure, nicknamed Robot Head, wears what can only be described as a squared helmet with large eye sockets and angular facial plating. Its design mimics something mechanical, not ceremonial. Both figures seem built to operate something, tools, controls, or machines, and neither fits within the known Maya artistic canon. No records, no inscriptions, no context. Yet they remain, frozen in stone, quietly pointing to a civilization far older and possibly more advanced than the Mayans themselves ever claimed to be. Number 3. Coso Artifact. Out in the blistering heat near Olancha, California in 1961, 3 rockhounds cracked open a geode and found a machine part staring back at them. No gemstones, no fossils. Inside was a porcelain cylinder with a metal core, like a spark plug trapped in stone. It sparked wild claims. Some said it was 500,000 years old. Others screamed alien tech. One even slapped on a $25,000 price tag and refused to let scientists touch it. For decades, it lived in a fog of TV specials, fringe books, and whispered debates. Then came 1999. A couple of researchers handed the X-rays over to a collector's club. One glance and the mystery was unraveled. It was a 1920s Champion spark plug, just like the ones used in Ford Model Ts. By 2018, the plug was physically re-examined, confirming what skeptics had long suspected. Still, the Coso artifact remains a cautionary tale. Not all mysteries are ancient, and not all stones hide secrets worth digging for. Number 2. London Hammer. The summer of 1936 brought more than just heat to London, Texas. It brought controversy. Max Hahn and his wife weren't hunting history when they spotted a wooden shaft jutting from a rock near Red Creek. But what they took home would ignite decades of debate. Inside the stone, a hammer. Not a relic from a forgotten shed, but an iron-headed tool partially encased in solid rock. And not just any rock, some claim it dates back to the Cretaceous period. That's over 100 million years old. The handle, partially fossilized. The metal, 96.6% pure iron, way too advanced for 19th century tech. Some say it's evidence of a pre-flood civilization. Others argue it's a simple case of mineral-rich water turning the surrounding material into stone over time. Carbon dating, avoided. While one limited test in the 90s suggested the wood might only be 700 years old, the mystery lives on. It now sits behind glass, untouched, unanswered, and impossible to ignore. Number 1. The AIUD Wedge. Beneath 33 feet of Romanian soil alongside mastodon bones older than civilization, construction workers found a metallic wedge that rewrote every rule in the book. The year was 1973. The object, roughly 8 inches long, aluminum heavy, and suspiciously manufactured. Early analysis dated it to 250,000 years ago. That's a problem. Aluminum wasn't even refined until the 1800s. Its shape looked mechanical, even purposeful. Some claimed it was a UFO fragment. Others whispered Cold War conspiracy, buried tech, or suppressed knowledge. Historians proposed it might have come from a World War II-era aircraft, maybe a German E-262. But that didn't explain how it ended up buried with fossils. Then came the satellite theory, debris from an early space program crash, hidden during Romania's communist silence. Today, it rests in a museum, labeled with one haunting phrase, origin still unknown. Whether it's a Cold War ghost, a modern misfire, or something far older, the AIUD wedge is a reminder that the past doesn't always play by the rules. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.